So I'm going to be using this paper quite a lot in the coming weeks, and I'm going to give you a bit of context, explain exactly what it's about and how I'm planning to do everything. But first of all, I need to explain something. So far this year, a lot of things have happened. This year hasn't been the smoothest start. There's been a bunch of things, going on and all of that. I was supposed to go for NYSC this Wednesday, but then earlier today, I found out that I'm not going to be going for NYSC because I'm supposed to join the next batch, all of that stuff. So right now, I'm just trying to think through my entire life and get back on track with everything I'm supposed to do. As far as I'm concerned, my new year is just starting right now. So the first thing I want to do to try to get back on track and get everything together is to get back with my habits and start being consistent with my habits again, hence this paper in the first place. So this paper is basically what I'm using to track my habits. It's a habits tracker essentially, and I actually got this idea from a guy on YouTube called Michael Fricker, if I'm not mistaken. And I've actually tried this earlier before. So in university with my roommates, we actually used to use this paper to track different habits that we wanted to be consistent with, and I found it to be very efficient. So I decided, you know what, now that I'm trying to fix things back again and get on track for my new year, which is just starting now, might as well just, start it again and explain exactly what I have in mind for this. So if you can see at this corner over here, I have a bunch of dates, right? Starting today. Today is January 20th. And then at the top, I have the things that I want to be consistent with. So I have reading, I have writing, I have creating, and then working out. So read, write, create, and work out. So first of all, I want to give a bit of context onto why I'm even choosing those things in the first place, and then I'll go on to my plan to actually be consistent with these things, because I'm going to be documenting it here on the channel, and I'm going to be showing this paper very often. You'll be seeing this quite a lot, so you get to see whether I'm actually being consistent with everything that I'm doing or not. I'd also be using like markers. I have markers here. I'm currently at the office. There are markers at the office, but I also have markers at home that I'm going to be using to track. So like when I'm consistent, I'll use the green marker. When I'm not, I use the red marker to show that I missed it. And the goal is to get this to be as green as possible. So the first reason I have these things in particular on here, reading, writing, creating, and working out, is one of the ways I'm thinking about it is by thinking about what my ideal life is. What is my dream life is. I was talking to a friend of mine who was staying over at my place yesterday, and one of the things I was talking to him about was my dream life. My ideal life, honestly, would be pretty simple life. Wake up in the morning. I would like to write for like an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours. After that, I would read something interesting, whatever field it is I want to read about. I would write, read, then probably go for a walk, come back, have a couple of meetings with whatever project it is I'm working on at that time. And then once I'm done with the projects in the evening, go for a workout, come back, and then do whatever it is I want to do with my evening. Maybe have a couple of more meetings if I want to, read a bit more if I want to, write a bit more if I want to. That would be my ideal life. So the idea with this and picking the things that I want to be consistent with here is, now that I'm in a position that I'm fortunate to be living alone and I don't have any quote unquote responsibilities, I don't have school, I don't have any of that. Instead of postponing my ideal life, why not bring it into, reality right now and start working towards building that ideal life for myself and being consistent with it. So right now, the idea is to read, to also write, and then create something, a project, something that I need to have a project that I'm working on at this point in time. I'll talk about all of them individually in a bit. And then working out is also another one that I have here. So that is one of the reasons I decided to pick these things in particular to put on there for the habit tracker. Now, the second reason, I have my notes on here, by the way. The second reason I put them here is because these are things that give me energy. I only put things that give me energy here. Reading gives me a lot of energy. Once I read something, when I'm done reading, I usually have a bunch of ideas and I like to think a lot, which is where writing comes in. I enjoy writing because it makes me think. I tend to think a lot on a normal day. So being able to think and stress my mind to come up with, frameworks, with systems, things that are applicable. I like to write a lot. And then also creating is something that I also like to do. I'm always building something at every point in my life. It's very rare for you to catch me at a point where I don't have like an active project or an active basically thing that I'm building or I'm working on at that time. So I want to be intentional about it, which is creating on here. And then finally working out. This one, I have a love-hate relationship with working out, man, but it's necessary, so I have it on here. And then finally, the last thing I have here, to not make this video too long, is today. As of today, what am I working on? What am I doing in each of these areas? For reading, there's a book that we're reading at the office. We do like book club this book club thing every single month where we pick a book. So I'm trying to read more often too, but I have to start off with the book of the month, which is Peak. I really don't know what the book is about. I haven't looked into it yet, but I have my Kindle over here, and I'm going to be using my Kindle. It's currently dead, so I have to charge it. And then once I charge it, I will start reading that book today. Writing, I have already ticked off writing for today because that was what I did this morning when I woke up. I wrote my newsletter, so you should check out my newsletter. I usually write things, it's more or less like my daily journal than it is my newsletter. So everything that I'm sharing here, I try to go in depth in there, talk about things that I'm going through, talk about things that I'm thinking about, systems that I'm building, strategies, basically things that I'm learning. I just use it as an avenue to dump my thoughts on paper and then arrange it in such a way that it is beneficial to you. So it is the first link in the description. Check it out. I already wrote this morning. I didn't write anything too crazy or too long this morning, but I did write this morning, and that's what counts. And for create basically means like having a project that I'm working on at that time. And for me right now, once I'm done making this video, I will take it off because I have created something. And another way I think about it is also work. Right now, I'm creating the remote work program for a course, self-paced course to help people get better or get remote jobs. And I'm doing a bunch of that right now, which is creating videos, filming videos. I currently have my lights and my setup here. So I'm going to be doing a lot of filming today also. So right now, that is the major projects that I have going on, building out this remote work program. And then once I'm done with this, or simultaneously rather, creating videos also is something that I enjoy. I like creating videos, so that's what I'm doing right now. Once I'm done with this video, I'll take that off, and then finally workout. I need to also take that off. The way I think about this is I'm obviously not going to be going to the gym every single day, right? But at least 4 times a week I'll be going to the gym. And then when I'm not going to the gym, I also need to take it off by probably doing like push-ups, maybe like 100 push-ups. Once I do that, I'll take it off the list. So that is the protocol that I'm going to be using to track my habits and make sure that I'm getting on track to building the ideal life that I want for myself. And I realize that for everybody, this is going to be different because obviously the things that you want, the things that you're working towards are very different. But for me, my ideal life is pretty simple, man. Just wake up, read, write, create something, work on some form of project. I always like to be active and building something. And I don't like to stay on one particular thing for a really long time. So just build something, create something, and then do a bit of workout, move my body because that's necessary, not because I love it, but because it's necessary also. So yeah, I'm trying to, start living my ideal life right now and not having to wait till when it is, in the future, whatever time, I can start building the habits and getting into the rhythm of my ideal life. So in future videos, I'll probably be talking more in depth about how I'm doing all of these things, if I'm learning different things I can use for consistency. Right now, writing and reading is at the beginning of my day. Immediately I wake up, I do the writing, then I will read. I haven't started the reading bit yet, but I'm going to do that later today, then from tomorrow, after writing. Then creating is mostly like, that's what takes up the majority of my day. I'm working on this remote work program, or I'm working on a video like this. I'm working on something, but I always need to be creating something because I believe that fundamentally, as human beings, we should always be creating something. And then workout is, going to be later in my day, usually in the evenings. That's when I like to do the workouts. And yeah, ideally I'll have put workouts at the beginning of my day, probably, but I need to write in the morning. If I don't write in the morning, it's very difficult for me to write properly and clear my mind, I like to just start my day by writing. I like clearing my mind and exercising my mind in the morning. So yeah, I'll be giving a lot more details in the future. I decided to do more raw videos like this because I don't know, I think I enjoy doing this more. I'm not about to be stressing about a bunch of things. Anyways, I'm beginning to talk too much. In future videos, the point I'm trying to make is I'm going to be making more stuff, just diving into the details and sharing stuff that I'm learning and implementing, things like this that are very practical and that I'm going through and that you can learn from and that you can apply in your own life. And yeah, don't forget to check out the newsletter. It's the first link in the description. It's not a newsletter, it's my daily journal. I need to stop calling it my newsletter. Check it out, first link in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.